Hi students, now today we are going to see the energy of the electron in the nth orbit by Bohr's. So already we have seen that Bohr's radius of nth orbit. In that we have found that the radius of the electron in the nth orbit is equal to n squared h squared epsilon naught by pi m z e squared. So this is required for this energy of the electron in the nth orbit. Right, so Bohr's energy of the electron in nth orbit, that is, we have to find out the En. Now we all know that whenever electron is revolving around the nucleus, it possesses two energies. That is, it is moving, right? So it means the energy due to its motion is nothing but the kinetic energy. And from the center of the nucleus, if that electron is somewhere in the nth orbit, so somewhere in the nth orbit, so from this point of nucleus to that particular distance, we say it is r suffix n, right? Radius of the electron in the nth orbit. But that Rn can also be considered as the height or the displacement of that electron from the particular point called nucleus, right? So whenever any object is at a particular height, it possesses what? The potential energy, right? So the electron possesses both kinetic energy as well as potential energy. Now the total energy of the electron in the nth orbit is equal to the kinetic energy and the potential energy. So to find out the kinetic energy, we have seen in the Bohr's radius of nth orbit equation that the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron provides the necessary centripetal force for the electron to move in a circular path. So electrostatic force of attraction is equal to the centripetal force. Here electrostatic force of attraction is nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q1 is the charge of the electron, that is E. Q2 is the charge of the nucleus, that is Ze. So here Rn square is equal to m Vn square by Rn. So velocity of the electron in nth orbit and radius of the electron in the nth orbit, the centripetal force, this one is, right? Now if I cancel this, it becomes Ze square by 4 pi epsilon naught Rn is equal to m Vn square. When I multiply both sides by half, so this becomes Ze square by 8 pi epsilon naught Rn. This one becomes half m Vn square, which is nothing but the kinetic energy of the electron in the nth orbit. So to find out the potential energy, we all know that the potential energy is equal to mg into height. Since mg is called as the force, here the force we have to consider is the electrostatic force of attraction. So replacing this by an electrostatic force of attraction and replacing h is the height of the electron from the nucleus, right? That is nothing but the radius of the electron in the nth orbit. So h is equal to r suffix n. So what is f suffix e? Ze squared by 4 pi epsilon naught Rn square into r suffix n. So one Rn will get cancelled. So e suffix b becomes Ze square by 4 pi epsilon naught Rn. So I should not forget to say one thing, that is, whenever we consider the potential energy, always it should have the electron in the negative sign. So this should have a negative sign. So E suffix P is equal to minus Ze squared by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Right? Now, let me wrap this. And let me apply this E suffix n is equal to Ek plus Ep. Since we need this, I don't want to rub this. So E is equal to, what is Ek? Z E squared by 8 pi epsilon naught Rn minus, that is Ep is nothing but minus the E squared by 4 pi epsilon naught. So total energy of the electron in the nth orbit is equal to the kinetic energy plus the potential energy. Since it is minus here, we have put minus. So taking Z squared by pi epsilon naught Rn commonly outside, this becomes 1 by 8 minus 1 by 4. The E squared pi epsilon naught R suffix n 32 4 minus 8. Now this becomes minus 4 by 32. So minus 4 by 32 means minus 1 by 8. So minus the E squared by 8 pi epsilon naught Rn. So now let us substitute the value of R suffix n in this equation. So E suffix n is equal to minus the E squared by 8 pi epsilon naught into n squared h squared epsilon naught by pi m. The E squared pi will be cancelled. So when I bring this to the top, z into z squared m E squared into E squared e power 4. So z squared e m e power 4 by 8 n squared h squared epsilon naught squared. So this is the energy of the electron in the nth orbit. So for hydrogen atom, z equal to 1, right? So E suffix n is equal to m e power 4 by 8 epsilon squared n squared h squared. When you substitute all the values, at last I get here minus, right? At last I get minus 13.6 by n squared E B. So if n equal to 1 for the first orbit, it is minus 13.6 electron volt. If n equal to 2, that is for the second orbit, so n squared becomes 4. So it becomes minus 3 point something. So actually E suffix n is equal to minus 13.6 by n squared electron volt. So it shows that from this equation En is equal to minus 13.6 by n squared electron volt. As n increases, the energy of the electron in each orbit also increases, since it is given in minus, right? So negative sign. So for each orbit, the energy level will also keep on increasing. That is, energy of the electron in each orbit will keep on increasing, right? And just for your knowledge, what is EV? EV is called as electron volt. So 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. So E is nothing but like Q, V is nothing but V, and which is nothing but the W. W is equal to weak. It means voltage is equal to W by Q, like that. So it is a work done on a charge to move, right? So electron volt is nothing but it is the energy, right, given to an electron, or whenever electron is given a 1 volt, and if it is accelerating, then the energy acquired by the electron, right, is called 1 electron volt. So in joules, its value is given. So thank you, dears. I think you would have understood.